I started cutting grass in high school as a way to make extra cash, and I just stuck with this little lawn mowing business all through high school and all through college. And over a 15-year period of time, I built this little lawn mowing business.
So we can actually show our customers, hey, if you put $1 into marketing, if you put $2 into marketing, you're going to get $3, $4, $5, $6 back.
The name of your company and what you do has to be memorable. And usually when people read our banner or see our website or hear our name, they go, okay, I'll bite.
We've got the world's first product that is as natural as you can get, that reduces dental tartar, which makes everybody have a healthier mouth when they go into the dentist.
Want to patent your invention? The chance is near. You've given it heart. Now get it in gear. It's Passage to Profit with Richard and Elizabeth Gearhart.
This is Richard Gearhart on Passage to Profit, the show that's all about entrepreneurs, small businesses, and the intellectual property that helps them flourish. Our guest this evening is Bryan Clayton, CEO and co-founder of GreenPal, an app that connects local lawn care professionals with consumers. GreenPal has been called the Uber for lawn care and generates $20 million per year in income. Our Power Move segment is hosted by Kenya Gipson, who will be interviewing Jared Curry, who is 19 years old and is the founder of a 7-figure business. After that, we'll hear from our presenters, Hope Zvara, who will keep your body parts moving on that long ride, and afterwards, John Anderson, who will keep those teeth clean. Filling in tonight for Elizabeth Gearhart is Kenya Gipson. Elizabeth is getting ready for our son's wedding. Kenya, it's really great to have you here.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be your co-pilot today. I know planning a wedding and getting ready for a wedding is not an easy task. So kudos to her. She probably needs a whole week off to do
That's
this.
basically what she said. And I'm like, well, what do you need a week off for? And since then I've seen pedicures, manicures, hair things, facial things, dress alteration things. For me, I think I'm just going to polish my shoes, maybe get a haircut, even though I'm not really sure I need it. And also get my shoes on and just grab a suit, right? And hit the road.
Guys have it easy when it comes to the event stuff. You just need a nice suit and a good shave, and that's it. We have all these other things to do. It's so annoying.
So I guess she was right to take the week off. And we're really looking forward to it. Our son's getting married in Pittsburgh to a wonderful girl. I'm really happy that they're starting life together. It's a very happy time for us and our family. So
well, congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. It's really a justification for missing Passage to Profit for sure. So in any case, we usually start with some IP in the news. We've got 2 stories to talk about. One is the discussion lately about COVID vaccine and patents. Should the companies, the pharmaceutical companies that created the vaccine, should they be encouraged or forced to turn over their intellectual property to other countries so that other countries can make the vaccines and be put in a position where that perhaps more doses could be created more quickly? And I guess there's really 2 sides to this. The first side is the humanitarian side. And in fact, the US government does have the power under the Bayh-Dole Act to order companies to provide a compulsory license to intellectual property if it's deemed to be in the public interest and if the inventions were made with federal funds. So they certainly have the power to do that. And anybody who accepts federal funds for research may be required to do that. Also, there's the hope that maybe by spreading the knowledge a little bit, the virus will be better controlled, right? If the more people have access to the vaccines, then they'll be able to put the nip in the bud of this pandemic a little bit sooner. That's one possibility. The other side of this is that really it's not so much the patents, but it's all of the know-how and all of the understanding on how to actually make and produce the vaccine that is really the most important part, and not so much the intellectual property. As I understand it, making the vaccines is very complicated, and it takes a lot of know-how and manufacturing know-how, which really couldn't be transferred that quickly. So you have those 2 competing pieces. I'm just wondering, Kenya, do you have any questions about that?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like such a complicated conversation, right? Because then you have someone who has invented something and they're passionate about protecting it, and then you're almost being forced to share your knowledge and your intellectual property against your own will. So it's like that's kind of good and it's kind of bad. I do believe in the whole humanitarian thing though. Like if you have some sort of method or you have some sort of invention that's world changing and is going to help other people, like I think that's the right thing to do to share it. But I guess my question to you is like, you know, if it's made with federal funds and they're kind of forced to do this, do they have to share the method of manufacturing outside of the actual formula itself?
They probably have patents on the methods of manufacturing since it is complex. So it's not just the formula that they would be asked to share. The COVID vaccines are going to need to be made for a long time. Right now, the average cost of a COVID vaccine is $40 per vaccination. So it's not outrageously expensive like, you know, some drug treatments. And if you share the technology for making this one vaccine, you're not just sharing the technology for one vaccine, you're sharing a platform technology, which means this technology could be used to make a lot of different things. And so the companies have invested for a long time to develop these platforms. And if they just restricted the use to making COVID vaccines, maybe that would work, but they're reluctant to share this technology that could be used for other reasons.
And rightfully so. I mean, I feel like this is not really a case of one size fits all because they all have their own different versions. So it's tricky to kind of know what's the right and the wrong way to go about this, you know. But again, I think if it's going to help the greater good, information is power. And, you know, you have to kind of look at it that way too.
I agree. And I was listening to the CEO, you know, India is having a lot of problems right now. And he admitted that even if they had the technology, they wouldn't be in a position to actually manufacture the vaccine anywhere from a year to 18 months anyway. But what he said, which I thought was a good idea, would be some sort of partnership with the companies where they can kind of work out the details and protect everybody's interests. And so I think something like that sounds to me like a fair way to go about doing things. Getting the vaccines out there is the priority. But if you can also manage it in a way to kind of help everybody keep their investments strong, then I think that makes a lot of sense. And so I thought that was a good suggestion.
For sure.
Patent Palooza. So today we're going to be talking about the famous banana case. It looks like a sausage and it splits down the middle. And you can put your banana in there when you're carrying it to lunch or to work. And this way, you don't have to worry about having a smashed banana, because I always put mine in my backpack, and sometimes it makes it in one piece, and sometimes it doesn't. I think it's a great idea. My only question is, well, what if your banana is different size or different shape? Do you get a bunch of different banana cases? Does one size fit all bananas? I'm not really sure where that could go, but it seems like a creative idea. So
creative. I mean, I love bananas, and it's funny because I'm like, I didn't know anything like that existed. You're right. And you travel around with it. It's not like something you can kind of stick anywhere, because if it gets smushed, it just makes everything gross and disgusting. Right. But I'm sure they had to have like a variation in size, right? Like I don't think it can be a one size fit all type of product. I don't know enough about it.
Yeah, I mean, the way the patent reads, they do say that you need different sizes, but you know, they make Tupperware in different sizes, right?
True.
So why couldn't you have your own banana carrier collection?
It's a great idea. I would actually buy that.
And the other one, you could have an avocado case, because those get smushy too. And
that's a good idea as well.
To be very healthy, right?
Yeah.
You're listening to Passage to Profit, and we have to take a break. Richard Gearhart with his co-host, Kenya Gipson, will be right back after this.
There's never been a better time to start your own business. The opportunities are infinite and only limited by your imagination and enthusiasm. At Gearhart Law, we believe the most successful companies all have one thing in common. They start with a solid foundation first. Gearhart Law has years of experience protecting entrepreneurs' ideas and brands using patent, trademark, and copyright protection. So if you have a new consumer product, a new software application that you're planning to build or sell, or a brand or company name that you want to protect, contact the experts at www.gearhartlaw.com. Our professionals will create a custom strategy designed to fit your needs and your budget. All of our attorneys are passionate about protection, licensed and qualified to represent you before the United States Patent and Trademark Office. Don't start your project without calling us first. first. Visit GearhartLaw.com. Together, we can change the world. Visit GearhartLaw.com. This ad has been read by a non-attorney spokesperson.
Now back to Passage to Profit. Once again, Richard and Elizabeth Gearhart.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Richard Gearhart with my co-host this evening, Kenya Gipson. Hi, Kenya.
Hi, Richard. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's great. Actually, I'm a little slow today. I had the COVID vaccine on Sunday, and I had the Moderna vaccine. It just knocked me on my butt for about 2 days. I'm back in the swing of things now, but I hope this keeps me safe, and I encourage everybody else out there who hasn't gotten it yet to get it, right? Very important part of controlling this epidemic.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yeah. So with us tonight is Bryan Clayton, who's a business mentor and the CEO and co-founder of GreenPal, an online marketplace that connects homeowners with local lawn care professionals. And he's been called the Uber for lawn care by Entrepreneur Magazine. Over 200,000 active users, completing the thousands of transactions a day and generating lots of money. So welcome to our show, Bryan. So what's it like to run a big business like that?
Hey, thanks for having me on, Richard. It's awesome to come on and share my story. So yeah, starting GreenPal, we're an 8-year overnight success. Started this in the summer of 2013, and it didn't start off as a big company. It actually started off very, very, very small and humbly. My two co-founders and I started working on the app 8 years ago, and the first thing we did was pass out a bunch of door flyers all over Nashville, Tennessee, where I live, getting the word out about this app that we had built, which was supposed to be the Uber for lawn mowing, but it didn't really fulfill that vision in the early days. It was really clunky. It was hard to use, but luckily we were able to hustle up a few dozen people to use it. And we just kept talking to people, asking them what they wanted to see the app to do. And we just rinsed and repeated that process over year after year after year. And we were doubling every year after year in the early years. And that number just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And now here we are 8 years later, a couple 100,000 people using the app. We're doing over $20 million a year in revenue. And now it's starting to get fun. I've got a good team around me. I come into work every day. Everybody here is smarter than me. That's a lot of fun. And it's actually getting to the point where we've got some good momentum behind us, and we're able to take bigger bets and do things quicker and faster. So it's just one of those things, we just stuck it out in the early years, and luckily we just didn't give up. And I think that's the key to our success. It was just not giving up.
Kenya?
That's great. Yeah, no, I have two questions for you. One is, when is the last time you mowed a lawn? And the other one is, how do you find people, how are you finding the people that are actually contracting with you that go out and provide the service?
Before GreenPal, I actually had a lawn mowing business. I started cutting grass in high school as a way to make extra cash. And I just stuck with this little lawn mowing business all through high school and all through college. And over a 15-year period of time, I built this little lawn mowing business into one of the largest landscaping companies in the state of Tennessee, where I live. I got that business over 150 employees, over $10 million in revenue. And in 2013, the business was acquired by one of the largest landscaping companies in the United States. So I kind of have the lawn mowing business in my DNA. I have the scars and all of the experience and know how it works from the inside out. And so I plowed all of that into how we built the app for GreenPal. And so GreenPal is really, it's an app that connects buyers and sellers. It's a marketplace, and it's a nice convenience for homeowners to get this service done. But really why we do what we do, why I get out of bed in the morning, is to give anybody access to the American dream, give anybody access to running a successful lawn care business just by plugging into our platform and working hard. And because I know how hard it is to run a lawn mowing company. And that's why I love this job. That's why I love founding this company, is because we have story after story after story, people that didn't know how to run their business, didn't know how to market it, weren't making any money. And after a year on our platform, they're making the more money they've ever made in their entire life, material income. And that's a lot of fun for me. And so, yeah, that taking that kind of supplier approach first, solving for all of their needs, is how we are able to offer a nice convenience to homeowners where they can push a button and hire them off the shelf.
That's great. So do you recommend mowing the grass when it's wet?
No, unless you want an irritated, upset customer. Now, sometimes you have to, particularly in the springtime and, anywhere where it's just raining like 3 or 4 days out of the week. Sometimes you have to, but then you got to get out a smaller piece of equipment. You might have to push mow it. You can't get the big tractor on the lawn. It's going to leave ruts. So you're going to have an upset customer. So I do not recommend that.
I appreciate that, because sometimes our lawn ends up with ruts, and it's not a pleasant sight, let me tell you.
Right. Yeah. If you want to keep that customer, you might want to let it dry out. Or, a lot of things that we teach our service providers, just communication. Proactive communication with your clientele. Reach out to your customer. Say, hey, a little wet this week. You mind if we skip this week? It might get a little long, but I think it's a better move. Really training that service provider to run a successful small business is kind of what our technology does over time, because, we're not taught this stuff in school. We're not taught how to run a small business in high school or college. You kind of have to learn this stuff as you go. And that's what our app is kind of geared towards, is training anybody to run a successful lawn care business and slowly kind of evolving them from not knowing how to do it to running a 6-figure company.
That's great. That brings me to my next question. So I was going to ask you, what systems do you have in place to ensure that every customer has that same experience every time? Because obviously you're building a brand, and you have all these people that are part of the platform, but how do you ensure that everyone's having that same GreenPal experience?
It's an awesome question, because that's the kind of the role of our platform. That's our job, is to make sure that a homeowner gets a good quality job done when they hire somebody to come out to mow their yard. They don't know them, they don't know if they're any good or not. And so when we first started, it was very much hand cranking. We would interview these people face to face. We would look at their equipment. We would talk to their past customers, and we would make sure that through a curated approach that we only got the best on the platform. Now we have 25,000 lawn care services that use it. We can't personally do that to every single one of them, but what we have built are systems in place to understand these are the reliable contractors and these are the ones that aren't so reliable. And so we measure them on a few different dimensions. One is, how often do they show up on time? How often do they show up on the day they are supposed to show up to come cut your grass? And you would think this is a simple thing, but like the case of the disappearing lawn guy, or the case of the lawn guy flaking or ghosting on you, it's real. Like, they just don't show up and then they just drop off the face of the earth. So we measure that. And so we understand, okay, 93% of the time this service provider shows up on the day they're supposed to. And then we also measure, how often do they get booked for a second lawn mowing, third and fourth lawn mowing? Because that's a big indicator of, are they offering a quality service? Do they do a nice and neat job edging the driveway and blowing off all the grass clipping? If the grass is really tall, do they run over it a couple times to make it nice and neat when they're done? We've been at this 8 years and we're still working on one problem. How do we make lawn care easier, faster, quicker, cheaper, more convenient, more consistent, just making that better and better and better? We also offer other yard maintenance services like shrubs and mulch and seed after you get hooked up with a good lawn mowing service, but we're still focused on that first kind of initial use case. How do we make that smoother, easier, cheaper, faster?
Talking with Bryan Clayton, but we have to take a break, and we'll be right back after this. You're listening to Passage to Profit with Richard Gearhart, and our substitute co-host, Kenya Gipson, will be back after this commercial break.
What are entrepreneurs' most valuable assets? Their passion and ideas. We can't protect your passion, but we can protect your ideas. Trust Gearhart Law to protect your ideas with premier patent, trademark, and copyright services. There's never been a better time to start your own business. Contact us at GearhartLaw.com. At Gearhart Law, we have years of experience protecting entrepreneurs' ideas and brands using patent, trademark, and copyright protection. So if you have a new consumer product, a new software application that you're planning to build or sell, or a brand or company name that you want to protect, contact the experts at Gearhart Law. www.gearhartlaw.com. Don't let the wrong protection strategy ruin your business. All of our attorneys are passionate about protection and are licensed and qualified to represent you before the United States Patent and Trademark Office. Don't start your project without calling us first. Contact Gearhart Law on the web at GearhartLaw.com. Together, we can change the world. This ad has been read by a non-attorney spokesperson.
Passage to Profit continues with Richard and Elizabeth Gearhart.
And we have a special treat for you this evening, a special power move with Coach Kenya. So Kenya.
Today for Power Move, we're featuring Jared Curry. So Jared is the inventor and founder of Scope 16. He's 19 years old and he's already built a 7-figure business, which you've got me blown away. So Jared, welcome to Power Move. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much, Kenya, for having me.
Yeah. So tell us about Scope 16 and where the idea and the vision came from.
I'm going to start off from the very early days because people always look at your success and they see where you are now, and everyone says it's an overnight success, but they don't realize that it took multiple years to get there. So I want to start from the very beginning that allowed me to get the company to where it is now. When I first started Scope, I had just read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and it literally changed my life because it gave me permission. And keep in mind, I was in high school. I was a junior, or I believe, junior in high school at the time. And the book was telling me, it was a lot of paradigm shifts, right? And it was defying conventional wisdom, that you needed to go to school to get a high paying job, and that college was the only way to truly educate yourself. And once I read that book and I watched some of Robert's TED Talks, I gave myself permission to say, hey, I'm going to go all in on entrepreneurship because number one, you only live once, and I don't want to be on my deathbed one day saying, wow, what if I would have done this? What if I would have done that? I want to be able to say I lived and I accomplished everything that I wanted to do, and I took all the risks that I wanted to do. So that's what I wanted to really focus my life on. So I read the book and I started taking action. I started going on YouTube, and I said schooling wasn't the way I was going to educate myself, because schooling is not education, in my opinion. There's YouTube University out there. There's the internet. There's so many other platforms where someone can learn. And I found someone named Billy Wilson on the internet on YouTube. And he was talking about how he actually dropped out of college at the age of 21, I believe. And he actually started his own social media marketing company. And once I saw videos about that, I went all in. I had to use OPM because I wanted to invest in coaching with Billy. So I used my parents' money to invest in some coaching with Billy, and he taught me how to build a social media marketing company. And that's kind of how we got started.
Gotcha. I was like, OPM, other people's money.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, got it. So it is a social media marketing agency, right? You focus on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and you help people and brands use all these things. So I would say, what makes you different from all of the other agencies out there? Because that's everyone's claim these days, right? So what do you say makes your agency different?
I want to start off and first say, we've had a lot of different phases in our agency. In the beginning, when I really didn't know much, I was focusing on just any business that would work with us. We had a taxi company, we had a cleaning company that we were helping them get more customers. And then we eventually niched down into the fitness space. And we scaled up to about the 6-figure run rate. So we were doing a little more than $14,000, $15,000 a month in monthly recurring revenue. And at that point, COVID happened and we were in fitness. So all of our gyms had to shut down. So we lost all of our retainers in probably a span of a week and a half, I would say. So we went to zero, and I was a senior in high school at the time. And then after that, I said, hey, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to try this one more time. I'm going to restart this entire thing, reset the entire process. And I didn't see it I stopped looking at it as a big problem, and I saw it as an opportunity. Because what happened during COVID, everyone was going online and they were buying stuff online. They couldn't go in the store. And I knew e-commerce was going to blow up. And I know that e-commerce is going to continue to blow up. So I decided to put all of our eggs in that one basket and go all in on the e-commerce space, because at the end of the day, a lot of agencies, they're the jack of all trades, but they're the master at none. So I decided to focus specifically on e-commerce, and now we're helping e-com brands blow up using coaching, using content, and we're actually getting them customers because we're using something called the Facebook pixel code. So we're using the Facebook algorithm to track conversions. So we can actually show our customers, hey, if you put $1 into marketing, if you put $2 into marketing, you're going to get $3, $4, $5, $6 back. Because at the end of the day, if it's not making money, it's not marketing. So that's the biggest differentiator between us and other agencies. We actually generate revenue for our clients.
I love that. That's the good tagline to live by. And you are listening to Power Move on Passage to Profit with Jared Curry today. And his story has been wonderful and inspiring.
It certainly has, Jared, and thanks a lot for appearing on Passage to Profit. Your story is a great one and inspiring to all entrepreneurs, and it goes to show that if you put your mind to it, you can do it no matter where you're starting from, right? So great message, and we wish you all of the success going forward. That's really outstanding to hear what you've done.
So much for having me.
We'll be back with more Passage to Profit right after this.
Hi, I'm Lisa Askley's the Inventress, founder, CEO, and president of Inventing A to Z. I've been inventing products for over 38 years. Hundreds of products later and dozens of patents. I help people develop products and put them on the market from concept to fruition. I bring them to some of the top shopping networks in the world: QVC, HSN, eVine Live, and retail stores. Have you ever said to yourself, someone should invent that thing? Well, I say, why not make it you? If you want to know how to develop a product from concept to fruition the right way, contact me, Lisa Askley's the Inventress. Go to inventingatoz.com, inventingatoz.com. Email me, lisa@inventingatoz.com. Treat yourself to a day chock full of networking, education, music, shopping, and fun. Go to my website, inventingatoz.com.
Now back to Passage to Profit. Once again, Richard and Elizabeth Gearhart.
And if you've been stuck in a truck for a long period of time, our next guest has the solution for you. Hope Zvara is here to talk about her project. Go ahead and tell us how you solve this problem.
I work with truck drivers. People usually look at me and go, truck drivers? And so
Do you
pardon?
have truck drivers in your family?
Interestingly enough, I don't. And so I am not a truck driver by nature, but 3 years ago, I met someone in trucking, and that's really kind of how all this magic started. So I help truck drivers move more from the cab of their truck. 3 to 5 minute easy moves that they can do from the driver's seat, the sleeper, which is their bed, and right outside the rig. And like I said, 3 years ago, I met somebody in trucking. I have a background in yoga and fitness. I had a yoga studio for 14 years and a yoga school here in Wisconsin, and I was looking for a change. Maybe you can relate. You get to a point in your career where you're like, I think I did everything I have done and can do in this area. And I was looking for that next step. And I went to a local business mixer here with my husband, and I knew everyone in the room, and I look over at this guy I'd never met before, and I'm trying to pitch him corporate yoga because that's part of what I did. And he looked at me and said, do you have anything for truck drivers, like in the cab of their truck? And I threw up my hands and I said, mother trucker yoga, just trying to get a rise out of this guy, have a conversation. And he looked at me and stuck out his hand and said, that's brilliant. You want to go into business? We shook on it, and he called me the next day. And in 4 months, we built a full platform, a video platform for drivers and companies to subscribe to. And we built a website, and we launched at the country's largest truck show in Louisville. That was 3 years ago.
Amazing.
Interesting. So I think of truck drivers, right? And yoga is like a thing, and it could be considered like this kind of like lofty thing to do sometimes, right? How do you get truckers to kind of get past the, they're kind of rugged guys. Like, I'm not trying to, throw shade, but like, how do you get their mindset and adjust their mindset to embrace the whole yoga thing?
Well, I think first of all, one of the things I've learned being in business as long as I have is the name of your company and what you do has to be memorable. And usually when people read our banner or see our website or hear our name, they go, Mother Trucker Yoga, and okay, I'll bite. And if our company was like yoga for the driver's seat, I don't think it would create the conversation it does. So I think that's the first win that we have, is that people are willing to come up to us and have a conversation, whether or not they're interested. And the second thing is, we're not your traditional yoga. So you're never going to see us telling drivers to put their foot on their head and, meditate and om the night away. We're really focused on small, simple changes. And one of the things we learned when my former business partner and I looked at, okay, is there a market for this? Is there something for us here in the trucking industry? We found a couple other people kind of doing some stuff in there, but their focus was for drivers to run around their truck as fast as they can for 4 minutes, to do 200 push-ups and 100 jumping jacks. And I don't know about you, but if you've seen truck drivers, the average truck driver is 55 to 65 years old, and 87% of truck drivers are overweight. I don't think any driver is going to be doing that anytime soon. Small, simple changes. posture, ergonomics. Hey, make sure that you like reach your arms up overhead, during the day from the driver's seat. Think about when you're at a computer. How often do you find yourself and go, oh my gosh, I have not moved in like 2 hours. I've been frozen in this position.
Hope, what kind of information do you get from truck drivers? What kind of feedback do you get on the program?
And so our drivers that do sign up with us usually find that they're blown away at how easy and simple it is, because we're so focused on reducing pain and helping them move more and feel better. So then they are interested in eating healthier. They are interested in maybe thinking about exercising or, walking, whatever it is. The feedback has always been, this is a lot easier than I thought it was. I wish someone would have showed me these things sooner.
Can you give us a little rundown of the exercises that truckers can do? And do they do them while they're driving, or do they?
Well, we're going to do this together here. So first things first, I just want you to sit up straight. Recognize if you've been slouching. Drivers after just, 45 minutes and then, 3 hours, 6 hours later, recognize that they're like on top of the steering wheel. If you work at a computer, by 3 p.m., I'm literally on top of my desk. It's like, whoa, Hope, you need to step back. So first things first, just sit up straight. The second thing that I want you to do is what I call break the stick. So we're focusing on posture right now. So bring your arms up in front of you, shoulder height. And I want you to imagine that you are the Incredible Hulk. And you're going to take your hands. I'm going to back up. You're going to take your hands.
Right.
And you're going to break the stick. And as you do that, you're going to feel your shoulders drop down. So we go from up tight to down. And usually people don't realize how tense they are in the shoulders until they do that. And they're like, whoa, that's a big difference. And then the last thing you're going to do is take your fingers to your chin and just slide your head back slightly. So if you're having neck pain or that pain between your shoulder blades, usually that's from forward head. Our head can add up to 60 pounds of pressure to our upper back just by hanging the head forward. So these are such simple little things that we can be doing throughout the day, whether we're a truck driver, we're a school teacher, or heck, we're on a radio show right now, being interviewed. These are small, simple changes that add up to big results.
So Hope, do you have anything for back pain?
Yeah. So I'm standing right now, but if you're sitting, you can do what's called a pelvic tilt. And so you're just going to sit nice and tall again. And when you take a big breath in, arc your lower back like there's a pin behind you, or there's a little flame and you're trying to get away from it. And that might even feel a little stiff. And then when you breathe out, think about tucking your tailbone and pulling your belly muscles in towards your back body. You're kind of rounding out that. And you're just going to keep doing that repeatedly. This is one of the moves that I teach my truck drivers.
I think everybody on the show is doing your exercise.
I know, right? The longer that you sit, one of the big issues with that is circulation and blood clot. And so by moving your pelvis that way, you allow more blood flow into the legs and you allow that blood flow to move back up to the heart. And so if you're just sitting even at your computer and you're not moving your body throughout the day, there are negative effects and consequences to that we don't see and usually don't see till years later. And it's like, this magical issue just magically appeared. Well, it really didn't. This has been progressive over time. So these are the things that I'm really teaching these drivers, along with focus and breathing. Stress is a big issue in small little bite-sized pieces.
I love it. I was just going to say, I think I know why your name is catchy. I have some truck drivers in my family and they curse a lot. So
you got to have fun with it. And we just recently launched a pain relief cream that is going to be moving out into truck stops nationwide in this coming year. And it's called Stiff Mother Trucker. So we got to have fun with our clients and we got to have a memorable name. So yes, pun intended, you can laugh. It's okay.
So all of this is available on an app. Is that how they subscribe to the app and then they get these exercises?
Yeah, so currently we're an online platform. We spent the last 2.5 years surveying our drivers to make sure everything that we have inside the platform is what they want in the way that they want it. And so our goal here in the next year to 1.5 years is to actually roll out an app. But we chose not to do that in the beginning because we wanted to make sure how it was laid out, what we were offering, the way that we were offering it was what drivers actually wanted. And we've learned a lot over the last couple of years. And if we would have done that in the beginning, I'm pretty sure I would have probably changed it about, 100 different times.
That's great. That's great. I mean, turned out to be a smart move, making sure that you've got it down and the proof of concept worked out.
It's a niche market, but a needed one. And I love how you've been thinking outside of like what we typically will think about in fitness and what our approach is. Like, I think we try to go after a whole bunch of people and try to make this one size fits all approach. I love and respect the fact that you looked at an issue that was, affecting a specific demographic and got really smart about it.
I would foresee, the same kind of app for like subway travelers or something.
Well, really, if you're a driver of any kind, I mean, think about, Bryan with GreenPal, Uber Eats, Grubhub, all of these people are sitting in the driver's seat for hours a day. Then they're going and doing extreme movement, whether it's mowing a lawn, running in as fast as they can to someone's, front door to drop off their food, and then chasing back to the car so that they can make those couple extra bucks when they're on time and their deliveries are hot. That all plays a toll on the body. And so when we have these little teeny things in our toolbox, we're going to find that we're happier and we're healthier and we're in a better mood. And I think everybody wins when that's the case.
Hope, where can people find you?
Absolutely. You can go to our website at mothertruckeryoga.com. And we do a lot of stuff on Facebook and Instagram is a lot where my drivers hang out. So you can check us out there as well for our Facebook Lives.
Well, thanks a lot for being here. You're listening to Passage to Profit with Richard Gearhart and Kenya Gipson. We'll be back right after this message.
There's never been a better time to start your own business. The opportunities are infinite and only limited by your imagination and enthusiasm. At Gearhart Law, we believe the most successful companies all have one thing in common. They start with a solid foundation first. Gearhart Law has years of experience protecting entrepreneurs' ideas and brands using patent, trademark, and copyright protection. So if you have a new consumer product, a new software application that you're planning to build or sell, or a brand or company name that you want to protect, contact the experts at www.gearhartlaw.com. Our professionals will create a custom strategy designed to fit your needs and your budget. All of our attorneys are passionate about protection, licensed and qualified to represent you before the United States Patent and Trademark Office. Don't start your project without calling us first. Visit gearhartlaw.com. Together, we can change the world. Visit GearHartlaw.com. This ad has been read by a non-attorney spokesperson.
Passage to Profit continues with Richard and Elizabeth Gearhart.
Richard Gearhart here, along with our co-host, Coach Kenya Gipson from iHeartRadio. And our next guest is somebody that I personally wished I'd met many, many years ago. John Anderson has a solution for tartar buildup, actually tartar reduction on your teeth, and I've struggled with this all my life. So nice to meet you, John, and tell us all about it.
Well, I appreciate you having me on the show. My name is John Anderson. I'm the president of the Periogen company, founded about 10 years ago in San Diego. My brother was really the initiator, Doug Anderson. He had all kinds of oral care issues related to tartar buildup. He was getting frequent deep cleanings, and those are pretty invasive procedures. He said there's got to be a way to reduce tartar in your mouth. I mean, it formed naturally. There's got to be a way to get rid of it. So we actually started working on various compositions of existing oral care product ingredients to try to come up with something that would soften and reduce dental tartar. One of the big concerns, of course, is that we don't want to introduce something new to your mouth. I mean, we don't want new chemicals or anything. So everything that was used to come up with a tartar reducing solution was a food additive. So essentially, over couple of years' time, he did develop finally as natural as you can get, tartar reducing rinse based on food additives that are already in Twinkies and ice cream and all kinds of stuff. And sure enough, it worked. So here we are. He pulls me into the business 10 years ago, roughly, and says, we got to find a way to make a business out of this. How do we do this? So we started with our friends and they tried our product. And over a year or so, it spread by word of mouth, pun intended, that this product was reducing tartar. And when people went into their dentist, the dentist would say, what have you been doing different? And they say, well, I'm using this product called Periogen. And they go, wow, well, tell me more about it. So we had it grew real slow. And one thing I've noticed with all the guests here is that none of this is easy and none of it's fast. And we found there were all kinds of issues along the way that we had to overcome. The product that's been around for a long time, I'm holding a bottle that looks like could have been an old aspirin bottle here. And our original product is simply a powder. And this little 3-ounce bottle, it's got a little scoop in it. That scoop, you just take out a little bit of product, take it out and mix it with water and swish every morning, preferably morning and night. And it reduces existing tartar and definitely prevents anything new from happening, because most of us wind up, it all starts with plaque. We've always heard that plaque, you've got plaque here. Well, that's just biofilm. You can scrape it off with your finger. Brushing teeth gets rid of it. But when you miss something, within about 24 hours, that plaque hardens to tartar. And that tartar can't be removed unless you go to a dentist and get it scraped. And tartar is porous. It's like a coral reef. It harbors bacteria. The issue, of course, is it also harbors the bad bacteria. And eventually that tartar will grow down along the tooth line and taking with it the bacteria. Well, once it gets really deep, the bacteria, you're really left with just nothing more than what they call anaerobic or bacteria that don't need air. And that's the one that causes periodontal infection. It's really not all bacteria, because most bacteria in our mouth are good. It's digestive bacteria. It's good for us. We want it there. But this other stuff takes hold once that tartar grows down the root line. So our product reduces dental tartar and prevents it from forming. And if you put it in an oral irrigator, it's really good at getting down into the pockets and rinsing those out.
What is an oral irrigator?
Oh, like a water pick. In fact, Waterpick was real excited about us and helped us with a study. So you would think, for all of you entrepreneurs out there, you would think that something like this, we've got the world's first product that as natural as you can get, that reduces dental tartar, which makes everybody have a healthier mouth when they go into the dentist. It should sell itself. Doesn't work that way, because as everybody here knows, it's very tough to bring these things to market because there are industries built around what's there. Colgate, Crest, the big names, they've been around a long time. They spend a lot of money on marketing. And most people don't really understand the relationship between plaque, tartar, and periodontal disease. If you tell someone, hey, this will reduce tartar. I've had hundreds of people say, I don't have tartar. I have a buildup. My dentist says I have a buildup. Or they say I have plaque. And I go, well, plaque becomes tartar, and tartar is that buildup, and we get rid of that. So there's challenges in terms of marketing a product where people don't fully understand the process. And that's because we know what we know. And so here we go. And so early on, my brother and I said, okay, we're going word of mouth. We're getting some good sales. We're online only. When we go to the dentist, they're skeptical because this wasn't taught in dental school that you could do this. They were taught that tartar has to be scraped off or use an ultrasonic device. So our next phase was to do clinical research. So we went up about setting up studies all around the world, one in the US, one in various places. So we'd have a kind of a multicultural study because oral care issues are different around the world.
I have a quick question. I'm just wondering, Jared, you're a marketing guy. Do you have any thoughts about this issue, which seems to be kind of penetrating an industry that doesn't really want anything to change, right? Because they have a financial interest in keeping things the same.
It's a really good question. And I always like to look at it from something I call upside. So unaware problem, problem aware, solution aware, your solution aware, and then of course the deal. So right now, what it sounds like is that people, I think they might be aware of the problem, but are they aware of the solution?
No, and that's the big challenge. For example, dentists, we went after dentists with our clinical studies. That was to prove to the dental industry that we work. They were all university studies, peer-reviewed, published, and presented in conferences around the world. And, we got approached by a couple of dentists that said, you do what we do. And what we have hygienist chairs, and those hygienist chairs are used to clean teeth. And that's how we get people in. If people didn't have red sore or bleeding gums, they might not come in to see me. So we have a real challenge. Now, some dentists just look at this and go, oh my gosh, this is wonderful. It's the best thing we've ever seen. And some dentists look at us with real fear. And the research that we did to prove that we work only in some cases enhanced that fear. Okay, so what we did is we went from a powder, which makes 3 gallons of rinse. So it's the cheapest thing around. We're marketing how cheap it is with this. It's environmentally friendly because you have one little 3-ounce bottle, makes 3 gallons of rinse. Still, we were having trouble. We decided it was time to kind of go more mainstream. So we took the powder last year and we put it into a toothpaste, the Periogen toothpaste. And we now have reapproached the dental industry with that, and they're more comfortable with the toothpaste. It's easier to use, it's conventional. It seems to work well enough that their people are feeling good about the product, and the dentists are more apt to just say, go use this toothpaste. It's a strange business.
Bryan, do you have any thoughts or questions?
I can empathize because you're inventing something from scratch that does not yet exist. So you have to overcome entrenched customer behavior. And so I think the idea of going along with what is already occurring in terms of the toothpaste is a good idea, and thinking along those lines of meeting your customer where they're at. As marketers, as founders, as company owners, we have company logic and customer logic, and there's always a gap there. And there's always a big space, like a chasm between the way we think as owners and the way we think as founders and the way our customers are thinking. And so any way you can close that gap, and it might just be like, if you have a dozen customers, 100 customers, 1,000 customers, just figuring out ways to talk to them as much as possible and reducing all of the friction to where they can talk to you. And so maybe on the bottle, you literally put your cell phone number on the bottle, and anybody that's using your product can call you, text you, email you. Like for us, that painful customer feedback on a continual basis has been why we've gotten to where we are. And there's all sorts of things that you're not thinking, you're not seeing, that your customers can tell you. And so for me, meeting customers where they're at and making it frictionless for them to speak to you as the founder are two things that can kind of help you overcome that stodgy, user behavior, the incumbents, so to speak, and overcome that and put your product in there.
I just had a quick comment, and just terms of how you're positioning yourself in the marketplace. So, typically dental insurance will only cover 2 cleanings a year. You really need 3 or more if you have you're someone who has an issue with tartar or plaque buildup and you need scaling and so on and so forth. I almost think of you as that third essential cleaning that I really need from the dentist that I'm not going to be able to get because of my insurance. So it's almost like I would be going after that consumer market that does go to the dentist, right? They're into taking care of their teeth, but they don't have the luxury of taking advantage of that third cleaning or have to pay out of pocket. So you're like that preventative maintenance to that, right? There's so many, and then there's so many people who don't even have dental insurance that would benefit from. So for me, it's I think if you had an opportunity to position yourself in the marketplace like that, people would come to you in the droves, because I know a lot of people who have issues with their oral care that just they can't even afford to go to a dentist, but this is something they can do at home.
Actually, I like the third cleaning idea. That's pretty good. I mean, we end up, the goal of this product was to cure gum disease at home. That's a tall order and not something that cosmetic is allowed to say legally, but with an oral irrigator and things, we definitely improve things drastically at home. And that's the key. And it's funny, our demographic, I see a lot of young folks here that probably have no issue whatsoever. But once you hit your 40s and 50s, that's when it starts. That's when you start getting that, well, you have a lot of buildup here, and you need a deep cleaning. And those are, that's when they numb your gums, and it's a pretty invasive process. And so it's tough for us also to reach to the younger crowd and say, hey, we can prevent the inevitable, which is when you hit your 40s and 50s, because basically once you hit 60, 70% of Americans have gum disease, period. 70% have some form of gum disease, and that's a chronic infection in your body. And nowadays, gum disease is associated with Alzheimer's, all kinds of stuff, because your body is always under attack as long as you have an infection. So it's been a fun, challenging road. We are making progress by everything that's being said here. It's like pulling teeth sometimes. Yeah, people.
Sure it is. So how's the toothpaste doing?
Toothpaste is doing really well. I didn't think it would grow this fast, but it's just so easy for people. And we tell them, use the toothpaste and use the rinse, but we're finding out by word of mouth that people are kind of putting the rinse away and just using the toothpaste and getting great results. We've had, we've signed on more dentists based on they order the toothpaste and then give it to their patients that are having issues. So the toothpaste is really remarkable. We just finished a study in Europe on the toothpaste. It's very positive. And so it's been a fun ride, and we still have a ways to go.
Where can people find the toothpaste or the rinse?
You can find all of our products either on Amazon.com, or you can go direct to our website at periogen.com. Periogen.com.
Back with more Passage to Profit right after this.
What are entrepreneurs' most valuable assets? Their passion and ideas. We can't protect your passion, but we can protect your ideas. Trust Gearhart Law to protect your ideas with premier patent, trademark, and copyright services. There's never been a better time to start your own business. Contact us at gearhartlaw.com. At Gearhart Law, we have years of experience protecting entrepreneurs' ideas and brands using patent, trademark, trademark and copyright protection. So if you have a new consumer product, a new software application that you're planning to build or sell, or a brand or company name that you want to protect, contact the experts at Gearhart Law, www.gearhartlaw.com. Don't let the wrong protection strategy ruin your business. All of our attorneys are passionate about protection and are licensed and qualified to represent you before the United States Patent and Trademark Office. Don't start your project without calling us first. Contact Gearhart Law on the web at GearhartLaw.com. Together, we can change the world. This ad has been read by a non-attorney spokesperson.
Now more with Richard and Elizabeth. Passage to Profit.
It's been a fantastic show, hasn't it, Kenya?
So fantastic. Great conversations and a lot of great insight.
Yeah, and I absolutely love all of the different projects that we were talking about tonight. So we really run the gambit here on Passage to Profit. Bryan Clayton, our guest, do you have any final words before we leave our audience?
Yeah, I imagine we have a lot of entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs listening to this. Anybody listening to this is not in business, is thinking about it. Just like Jared said earlier, give yourself permission. Get in the game, because only when you're in the game can you win. And the thing is that you don't want to ask for the easy, cushy job. You don't want to ask for security. Ask for adventure, and your business can be the adventure of your life. It can be the thing that lends an interesting storyline to your life. So get in the game.
I love that term, adventure, because entrepreneurism is an adventure. It's a road worth taking, I think, even if it doesn't work out completely the way you want, you grow a lot and you learn a lot. And
I agree.
Jared, do you have any parting words for us?
Yeah, definitely. And I think this is going to resonate with a lot of people that are getting started off. There's this guy, he's walking down the street and he falls into a hole, and the walls are so steep he can't get out. A doctor passes by and the guy in the hole shouts up, "Hey doc, can you help me out? I'm stuck in the hole." The doctor writes out a prescription and he throws it down the hole and moves on. Then a priest comes along and the guy in the hole shouts up, "Hey father, can you help me out? I'm stuck in the hole." The priest writes out a prayer, throws it down the hole, and moves on. And then a friend comes along, and then the guy in the hole shouts up, "Hey Joe, it's me. I'm stuck in the hole. Can you help me out?" The friend jumps down in the hole, and then our guy in the hole says, "Are you stupid? Now we're both down here." Joe says, "Yeah, but I've been down here before and I know the way out." So for all the entrepreneurs that are listening, or the people that aspire to be an entrepreneur, just know that it's not going to be easy. You're going to fall, you're going to mess up, but just know people have been there before. And if you keep watching and listening to shows like this, we're going to help you get out of that hole. So just keep going.
I think there's a great story there. Thanks so much for sharing that. And Kenya?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, again, this was a great conversation. We talked a lot about very important things, oral health, which leads to overall wellness, right? And then the fitness and the yoga with hope. And then we talked about social media marketing, which I love social media. So it was good to learn some things there. And then one of my least favorite things, which is mowing the lawn, but you can reach out to GreenPal to help you with that. So it was a great show.
On our show this evening was Bryan Clayton, who was our guest for GreenPal, and his app can be found at www.yourgreenpal.com. And then we had our power move, Jared Curry, for Scope 16, www.scope16.com. And Hope Zvara, who presented on Mother Trucker Yoga, and that can be found at www.mothertruckeryoga.com, and learn how to move in your truck and stay a little bit healthier, and hopefully it'll keep some truckers from maybe falling asleep at the wheel if you stay active. And finally, we had John Anderson from Periogen, who keeps the tartar off your teeth, and he can be found, and his product can be found at www.periogen.com. That's spelled PERIOGEN.com. So before we go, I'd like to say thanks to our audience. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with another episode of Passage to Profit. And I'd also like to thank Noah Fleischman, our producer, our program coordinator, Alicia Morrissey, our video editor, Angela Wolf, and don't forget to like us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Passage to Profit on iHeartRadio, WOR 710, the voice of New York.